Welcome back to the Two Dudes That Game podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ender, and I'm here with our wonderful co-host, the one and only James, the third, the one that came before, the gaming dad, the thingamabobber, whatever he decides to change to next, because we can't keep our name straight. And I don't even know what to call you anymore.
James is fine. Like, James is fine. Listen, James the third. That's it. I'm done. There's nothing. It's too much. It's too much trying to like find a brand for yourself that fits and something.
You're just gonna go with James is the best you got.
I mean,
it's been your brand your whole life. You might as well just go back.
Might as well just go with it. I mean, I used to be called, because I'm the third, I used to be teased all the time in high school and stuff as King James, but then of course LeBron came along and. I mean,
well, ruin that because
what am I? Because then I was getting, people would be like, "Oh, you think you're King James just because you're a LeBron fan or you're from Ohio?" And I was like, "No, actually, it was like my nickname. I'm older than him, so I just kind of dropped
I had it first, and everyone else that was James the Third probably had.
I probably said the same thing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
People need to realize the history behind that to understand. Like, there's probably been a lot of people nicknamed King James over the history of everything.
And fair enough. He's King James. Fair enough. I'm not gonna argue with him about what people have decided to call him over the years. He's slightly more popular than I am.
Slightly, but I mean, we could argue. Does the King title actually fit for him over his career? But
there's no argument.
That's a different. Oh, there's an argument. There's always an argument.
You just like to argue anyone you don't like.
I personally don't dislike LeBron. In all honesty, I don't dislike LeBron at all. I just think if you can have the argument that over the course of time, he's top 10.
I would say he's top 5. I personally think he's the best ever. Argumentatively, I understand, but I think I don't care if you think Jordan's the best or if you think Shaq. Whatever there's just no way you can take him out of your top 5. Is kind of my point.
I don't think you can build. Because remember, I come from my background's baseball. So you can't build who's the greatest player of all time because every position's different. Every job's different across the field, all over there. I look at it more as if I was going to build the greatest team, is he on it? And the answer is absolutely.
Correct.
Is he in my starting 5? I don't know. That's up for debate on is he the starting 5? If he's not, who would you have there? But of the era that we're playing in today, I mean, the numbers tell you the story. There's no one close to him.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And that's there. Now, everyone's going to go to championships and things like that. But I think one of the greatest basketball players ever and is never in the conversation, Charles Barkley, isn't in the conversation because of championships.
Correct.
But he statistically was better than everybody else. He was statistically the best player on the dream team.
Yeah.
But anyway, this isn't about sports. We could go into that. I have my own opinions there, but you brought that on. You got the heat going there. I know, look at you
getting all fired up. I gotta start. That's how I gotta get you going before we play games, especially when I get you back into Warzone.
That's not gonna happen. We'll talk about that later. I mean, you got my boy Bird's got to be out there somewhere.
I mean, you're only a month away from the new one coming out anyways. You might as well get a little practice in.
I don't need any practice because the one that's a month away is going to be completely different than what we're playing right now.
We'll see. I don't believe it.
We'll find out. I don't need the practice. It'll come back to me as soon as I turn the game on.
Yeah, it was sad today.
Anyway, speaking of sad today, or sad September 2nd, one of the games that you kind of got me involved with when we were stepping away from Warzone.
This is kind of the start of our friendship too.
Yeah, kind of was the start. We don't have the greatest news from 1047 Games the developer that creates Splitgate. And you sent this to me, so I'll let you go into what's going on over.
You know, I don't think
with the boys at Splitgate.
sad news is necessarily the right thing. I mean, here's the best
news.
Here's the easiest way to do this. I'm just going to read a little bit of this note that they left on Twitter to their fans. To our Splitgate fans, we could not be here without your support. We pride ourselves on trying to be as community focused as possible. We strive to improve our game and build a better future for Splitgate because of the enthusiasm of our fans. Thank you. Splitgate achieved a level of success that we could not have anticipated and that few indie games are fortunate to reach. That initial success brought an opportunity to turn what started as a college dorm dream project into a AAA game that could stand toe-to-toe with shooters from the biggest publishers in the industry. But this also meant that as we brought on top-tier talent from across the industry, we spent a lot of our time trying to rework old content and systems that were originally built by a handful of people. Now, it goes on to talk a little bit more. This is directly from 1047 Games. Now, I want to remind everyone this was a very passion project. A couple of guys in a room. They were in beta for a long time. They had tons of testing, and then for whatever reason, these guys basically, for all intents and purposes, Andrew, you remember when this blew up? These guys basically went to bed one night and woke up to like 1 million people playing their game. I mean, It was like what? The game started crashing. Everybody loved it. It was like the perfect storm when Warzone was just not in a good spot. Halo was delayed. It was just this fresh. It was for all intents and purposes, it was old school Halo with gates.
Portal, yeah. I mean,
with these portal gates and until all the streamers and pro gamers and everybody got involved, it was super fun. Then it got to the point that if you didn't know how to use a portal, you couldn't survive 5 seconds in the game. And the people that play the game, they are phenomenal at the game. It is.
Yes, they are.
I mean, it really is a really, really good game. So with that being said, Ender, I don't think this is a sad thing. Basically what they're doing is they're going to be shutting down our game. They said, we're turning our attention away from iterative, smaller updates and going all in to focus on a new game in the Splitgate universe, which will present revolutionary, not evolutionary, changes to our game. It will be a shooter, it will have portals, and it will be built in Unreal Engine 5. Oh, and wait, it will be free. I know a lot of people are upset. They're going to have one more battle pass that's going to come out. It's going to be free. There as a thank you to everyone. The game, I'm not quite sure if the game will shut down or they'll keep it running. But I really like what they're doing because obviously as that game grew, they got, a development team came in, they've hired people. This studio grew very quickly in a matter of weeks. They signed a bunch of deals, they got a ton of money, they expanded their servers. Instead of constantly putting a Band-Aid on something over and over and over and over, they're just like, let's just make a second game and start from scratch. And I think, and before you speak, I want to jump in real quick. I just want to remind you, they could have done what they're about to do like every other development studio does, just like Overwatch 2 getting ready to come out. For a long time, it was rumored, but they wouldn't confirm. From the beginning, one of the biggest praises from the Splitgate team is how transparent they were. We even did an episode specifically about how transparent they are with their fans and with their community, but more so than almost any other studio. So I really like the fact that whether you're sad or you're not, they're telling you up front what they're doing.
So yeah, I don't want to look at it as, hey, it's sad for the company. So companies have to grow and expand. They have to live off of more than one game. Look at every AAA title. They create a game every 2 years. It might be based the same. It might be the thing, but look, there's another Call of Duty coming out. There's 5 Grand Theft Autos. There's always going to be the next game that comes out. The part that I don't 100% like when studios go into this is they just got a ton of money. They just got all of these different things that are the developers that they're coming at. And when you read it, I just want to make sure as we go forward, they continue to build their passion project, not the game that their investors want them to build. And from this, I don't know who is saying, hey guys, we've got to cut this game. It's not making enough money in the back end. We want you to build something brand new. You have X number of...
But they're not saying it's not making enough money.
But they're never going to put that in here.
I understand that.
Okay, so
but I
that's
do think
when I see things like this after people have taken large amounts of money, and now it's not a passion project anymore. It is a business. I have people that I have to get their money back to, and I have to make them more money off of that. And now I need to go build a brand new game. It's going to be free. Okay, cool. We have seen what the free models look like. I think Splitgate has a chance of doing cool character models, making different designs, doing all of those different things in that universe. I'm just saying I would be very interested to watch this as the game comes out and see if it still feels like the passion project they started with, or is it the corporate game they needed to build in order to make people happy? Because you always have one of those that you have to do. You go from passion project to corporate game. The corporate game happens to give you even more money to where you can throw all those investors away. Then the third game is the one you get to build the passion project out of again, because you don't need the investors anymore. So my concern is this that middle game that the new, board directors and board members decided they wanted to make? I don't know who's on their board. I don't know who's making those decisions. They could be all hardcore, awesome gamers and be like, you know what? Everything you just said was 100% true. And we just want to give everyone the greatest game we can build. And we can't do that with what we have today. We need to start over, rebuild, and do it. I will believe that when I see what starts coming from them. And their transparency over the history of it comes from when they did not have anyone to respond to.
Well, I do want to point out, if you remember, their main investor. I don't know if they've added people because you and I obviously haven't followed the game. We haven't jumped back into it, but it was a friend. And one of the things they talked about when they did invest, I remember the episode, I re-listened to it yesterday, was how it was about keeping it that passion project. And that was one of the things, that's why they agreed to partner with who they partnered with.
So I hope that friend didn't go to all of his friends, and because that's how that works.
Oh no, I understand. But like I said, at least
friends of 5 other people.
We always talk about cut developers, cut publishers some slack until they prove you wrong. If there's anyone that's been
I am very excited.
If there's anyone that's been transparent, I will say it's them, and they really have not given anyone any reason to. I want to throw something out of left field to you. It just kind of popped into my head. Do you think there's any chance that one of the reasons they need to rework their game and one, they're moving to Unreal Engine 5, which I think is incredible. I don't even know, was it on Unreal 4 or was it on Unity? Do you remember?
It was definitely on Unreal. I don't know what version.
Okay, well, obviously not 5.
It was not on Unity.
Yeah, but obviously not on 5 because that wasn't out at the time. So I'm excited they're going forward with a new engine. They're probably going to update it. But my question to you do you think there's any chance that 343 and Microsoft decided they didn't like them using their guns?
No.
Okay.
No, because you would have the lawsuit. And if their transparency is anything the way there is, there would have to be a lawsuit from 343 for them to stop doing what they're doing. Like you wouldn't.
Just
you
curious.
Wouldn't
just
not
curious
have it
if you thought there'd be any chance.
No, I don't think they were big enough players for 343 to care. I think their game.
I mean, Microsoft promoted the crap out of Splitgate.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, I don't think Microsoft's group of people and Microsoft games are like that. If it was Sony game, there'd have been a lawsuit the next day. If it was Nintendo, there'd been a lawsuit the next day.
Like if they're sitting there throwing red shells and
if you had, I mean, Nintendo shut down, we talked about it, the fan project where he was just building it for himself. It happened to put the code up on GitHub. Someone grabbed it and then redistributed it out as a emulator, and Nintendo shut him down and sued him terribly. So they would have to put a lawsuit in. And if there was a big lawsuit from a smaller studio against from Microsoft on copyright infringements of your game, I don't know if that friend's giving him the amount of money that he did.
Okay, I'm going to throw one more at you. One more, and we'll move on after the story. Halo, it's a very split audience. The diehard Halo fan is constantly saying, it doesn't need a battle royale. It doesn't need a battle royale. It doesn't. At the end of the day, people like Nick Merckx and Doc were right. It needed a battle royale because that's the only way to currently, in today's gaming, where they stand toe-to-toe with the Call of Duties and stuff, that to remain relevant. That you just can't remain relevant on regular multiplayer anymore. I'm just going to say, in my opinion, I think that's true. Do you think there's any chance at all Splitgate's like, fine, I guess if Halo doesn't want to do a battle royale, we'll just do it?
Sure. I mean, I don't, if I were them and I was going to build a free to play game, I would be building a battle royale right now if I wanted to. I
mean, their game with the portals and BR could be intense.
It would be ridiculously difficult technical feat with the portals because of how large
the map would need.
The map is going to have to be, and the space that you're going to need to like. Portal in general, when the game came out, was huge because of how you were moving through space and time in the game itself. So do that on a 100-person multiplayer map as things are shrinking. You have 200, 300, 400 things you have to keep track of at any given time of where they're at to move you forward and back instantaneously.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a feat to do something like that, but if you read this, it sounds like they want to pull something off amazing. So sure, why not? Like if it
was going to be the same game, I feel like they would just say we're just going to update the game, start from scratch, rebuild it in Unreal Engine 5.
If I were them, or if I was going to build my own game right now, I would be looking to create a better Tarkov. Like the looter shooter, I think is the
extraction shooter,
game, extraction looter shooter, all of that would be the game that I would be looking to create with the ease of play that Call of Duty has where anyone can do it. Because Tarkov is extremely punishing. So not everyone's going to want to pick up and play that game. You're not going to get mass adoption ever. You're just never going to get that. But if you can create that style of game with that gameplay, with Call of Duty mechanics and feel, which the Unreal Engine 5 could bring to you, with something unique, that's what I would be building.
Oh, God. I will say this. The YouTube videos of someone going in with fully geared to get someone portal behind them and kill them and they lose all their stuff. Man, the rages would be amazing to watch.
It would be, but I don't think this game could do
that type.
A looter shooter extraction. I think they do a standard battle royale and they learn from every mistake that has been made by every single battle royale that's out there. And if I was going to make my battle royale, the one game that I'm following is Fortnite. I am following the Fortnite model to a T. I am out there talking to every industry possible, getting every kind of marketing deal I can into my game. I am making it a more cartoony game. I'm not making it a hardcore game or any of that kind of stuff because I'm going mass adoption.
So you're going talk for just money, not
I'm going mass adoption across all platforms.
Gotcha.
Now, that doesn't mean I can't put great gunplay in it, have amazing movement, have awesome stuff inside of it. But I do understand that if I want mass appeal, I have to appeal to a 9-year-old kid and a 35-year-old person at the same time. That's not easy to do. Fortnite nailed it. So that's what I would be doing. And I think we will see a battle royale from this. When I read it, when you first sent it to me, I thought battle royale. That's immediately what I thought. So good luck to them. I'll be happy to see whatever they're going there. I really hope they stick to their guns, stay transparent, build the game that they want to build, because they figured out how to do it. Now, they did become a success overnight, and you don't want to stay an overnight success. You want to become a AAA studio. So in order to do that, yeah, I mean, Battle Royale is the way to do it, especially when you don't have a name to help move you forward, such as Halo.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's what we're kind of going to get into next. I kind of leave that there of talking about Halo.
Speaking of Halo.
Yeah. Halo is just, I don't know what's going on in that studio right now. Maybe they can call over to the guys at Splitgate and start talking to them a little bit of, what their plans are and introduce them, because it doesn't matter what they do. It's plagued with delays and cancellation of features. Now, the feature they're canceling, I don't know why anyone gives a crap about anymore, but there's probably a few people out there still doing it.
I mean, the 7 people out there are really upset.
Yeah. The feature they are canceling is the local co-op. Now, I don't know how many of you are currently playing local co-op Splitscreen. I have yet to play it in the last at least 7 or 8 years since online play started. So I don't know why anyone gives a crap that they're cutting that out. But people are very upset that they're delaying season 3. But we are getting new content from Halo. And we're getting 2 new maps. Detachment and Argyle will join the rotation. They're both from the Forge. So if you ever remember, like, Forge created maps, which we were supposed to get the Forge. We still haven't gotten that, but they were created before. So we're getting maps that we kind of already know that were developed. So I feel like that's a quick way out of, like, here's some new maps. It was from the Forge. We updated some skins. That's about all we needed to do. They do anticipate the Forge beta to ship in September. And from where did you get this article from?
It's from Kotaku.
Already notice.
Already notice.
Basically said if you've seen any of the iterations of the Forge footage that was believed to have come out, in his words, they look fucking dope. So, as a fan of Halo, I'm really hoping that is true, because I do like Forge, and I love when you can create custom games and custom maps in Halo and, like, have only rockets or only swords or only one energy sword on the entire field. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do with that. Cosmetics were teased for a free 30 levels. So the first 30 levels are going to free for cosmetics. You're getting open world campaign will support online co-op, James. So when that comes out, we're going to be playing Halo Infinite co-op immediately, because I haven't finished the entire
I love the campaign.
You love the campaign, and being able to play that co-op is going to be awesome. And the one thing that I don't know why it wasn't in the game in the beginning, you can replay missions now. Why that wasn't something you could do in the beginning, I don't know. But it was their first attempt. Well, not really first attempt. It was a okay attempt at an open world game. So I think it was.
Listen, I will say this. I think the campaign deserved all the praise that it got. A lot of people are like, whoa, it's blah, 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 blah. I mean, they completely changed what type of game Halo is. I don't care if they just took a couple of basic levels that we all love and went back in the day. It brought an old school Halo joy. It did what it needed to do at the time. Now, if 5 years from now they haven't expanded upon what they've done and it keeps getting better, whether it's a new Halo or they expand upon this one with expansions, however they talked about doing it, then I think the conversation could be like, well, it's pretty weak. They're a AAA studio. They kind of already know what they're doing. Yes, I agree. But to change the whole formula, if they would have changed it as crazy as a lot of people say that they should have done if they wanted all that praise, they could have lost so many Halo fans. Like it's a whole dedicated community, right, that love the type of campaign. So doing what they did, I think, was already a risk. I think that they pulled it off. I think that was great. I think live co-op is going to be a lot of fun. I think you and I will have a blast with it. I will say my only downside to local co-op, because I do run the Parents vs. Gaming podcast, I think parents that like to play with their kids, maybe on the big screen TV, that aren't very good, and then kind of help them, and a kid feels like, that's sad to me. For Halo, I think was kind of that shooter that you get your kids involved in. So I'm a little bit sad about that. With that being said, there's an entire Master Chief collection with local co-op that I could play that. I don't personally think that it's that big of a deal, and I don't care, and I think that the player base that actually utilizes that is very small.
But I also think when you're any dev studio and you have to make commitments, or you need to try to make commitments on the dates you're going to launch X number of products, and I need to cut something, that's the one I'm cutting. Like, that's the one I think I'm not getting my biggest return on, and I'm going to cut it, and maybe, a year down the road we'll put it back in, or we'll worry about launching something like that. But I just don't see what the uproar is about that specifically. It just felt like people wanting to complain and being more. It felt like people being more upset about the fact that they're missing deadlines, they're removing things, and that's what this game has been plagued with from the beginning. And it's not really people looking at, okay, what content what are we getting? It's just, I'm fed up, 343. You need to give us better maps. You need to get this battle pass thing down that you seem to not be able to figure out, because it's lackluster at best. Like, I could care less. Like, okay, I got a samurai suit that I can't even change the color of, or do all these different things, and I have to play your very specific missions in order to do it. Like, they missed everything. The only thing that Halo has kept that most of your hardcore gamers who pay attention to esports, they nailed that side of it. It is still one of the best esports games to watch. That is a tiny subset of the players you have out there. Going back to what you said with Splitgate, would a battle royale have given them that ability to be the big game they wanted to be, and the big game we all want Halo to be, because Master Chief is a baller and everybody loves the game when it first came out? I mean, it created online gameplay. A first-person shooter online wouldn't exist without Halo being what it was. But they have just missed the ball and are always seem to be playing catch-up behind games like Call of Duty, games like Battlefield, games like Fortnite. Fortnite's the only one that I'll say that hasn't really screwed up. Like, Halo could be sitting in there as the top game over Call of Duty and Battlefield with how bad those two games did. But right now, Halo has less players than Battlefield. Battlefield had to give people money back. It was so bad. But they've at least been able to build their player base back up with giving them what they're asking for. So I'm hoping they're listening, and I'm hoping all of these delays are coming to something that the players want. And if you listen, it is a battle royale type game. Now, they gave you that new game mode that was very battle royale-esque, where you had the closing circle that was coming down with only so many lives that you could have, and it felt like they were trying to figure out the mechanics of the game. But if you take Halo with all of its vehicles, the ships, and the way the universe is built, and how many different levels you can have You got Master Chief jumping off of stuff. Like, it could be phenomenal. But they just won't go there. And I don't know why. Because what battle royale, other than Call of Duty Warzone that they just bought, did they have to care about? It's a completely different studio.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my rant on Halo. 'Cause I want Halo to come back. I love it.
Yeah, Halo's a lot of fun.
I really do.
It is a lot of fun.
And because it started the gaming world for me online. Like, I wouldn't be playing unless it was for those games.
I'm sure it'll be back. It'll be back next year. It'll be called Halo Gate.
Halo game. I don't think that's going to happen, but Splitgate could win that war and we're all over there playing that. That could be possible. But then I'd have to like figure out the triggers and which ones are for portals. Like, the portaling in Splitgate was the thing that I just sucked at.
Yeah,
which
you were
means
not.
You sucked at the game.
You were not very good at portal.
No, I wasn't. But I liked the game. I did.
The
really
one
like
game
the
I was better than most of my friends. Everyone stopped playing. They were
Yeah, it
like,
didn't
"Fuck!"
take me- it
They were
didn't- it
like,
didn't
"Fuck
take me
this!
long to get-
Fuck this! James is better than us. We're not playing this. We're not playing this game anymore."
I didn't stop playing. I was continuing to play. It just everyone shifted over to other. We actually all just stopped playing.
Yeah, we didn't play a lot.
Everyone kind of just
for
took a
while.
break. But yeah, it didn't take me long to pass you up on PUBG either. So like, you need to step up your game there. How
I'm
many?
horrible.
How many games in a row did you go without any damage
8.
or kills?
Thanks.
8 in a row,
8.
James. It was a rough night last night for our friend James here. I'm not going to say he brought the team down, but I think he brought the team down.
I admittedly told you that I was bringing the team down multiple times.
Well, I feel like I brought the team down for our win potential. Because I knew you weren't going to be able to clutch it up. So I had to have done something, and I went and died at the end. And you didn't clutch it. And we were 2v1 at the end. So step your game up a little bit, man. Come on. Anyway. Moving on to kind of some topics we haven't gotten into a lot because we're not really doing too much streaming right now. More focused on the podcasts and things at that point. But one of the largest streamers out there took a month-long break. I didn't notice. It's not one that we've had a lot of good things to say about over the course of time. But Pokimane decided that Twitch isn't creatively fulfilling anymore, so she's branching out and streaming less. What are your takes on this, James? How do you feel about?
Do you want my personal
somebody-
thoughts, or you want me to break down an analysis of what happened?
No, I don't. Let's not. We don't need to break down the analysis. If anyone who wants to, they can go read the article. Like, what are your personal thoughts? Like,
Next
what are
story.
you thinking here?
Next story.
Next story. You said you just don't care.
I could care. I honestly, to me, this announcement is like, oh, how do I get more relevant to everyone that's not paying attention to me again?
I can see that.
But as far as like whether I mean, look, if you're not having fun, we say this to people that are going to stream to one person, let alone, thousands, 100,000 people. If it's not fun, stop, because you can't, you're not going to be good at what you're doing. And someone like her, I highly doubt she needs the money anymore. So if she wants to take a break, I don't care if it's for a year. I think she's probably earned it. She can do whatever the crap she wants. And good for her.
Yeah, the one thing I want to pull from this, and it's not necessarily about her here, but I think we're seeing this across a lot of streamers in general right now. When you take a look at how much people streamed during COVID, during isolation, when everybody was going live every day. I mean, go look at the stats on Twitch alone on how much it grew during that time. And when you're grinding anything like that for the amount of time that you need to in order to make a living out of what they're doing. Like you get paid by going live. You get paid by continuing to do that. Whereas YouTube videos or other content creation methods, you create a video and it continuously makes you profit while you're sleeping, especially if you create evergreen content that's good for long periods of time. You can continue to make money off of those things. If you're not having fun, just like you said, you have to stop. And you have to find something that's there. You also just got Ninja, who said, I'm out. Like midstream. He's just like, I can't do this anymore. I need to take a break. I'm going to take a break. I like, when we look at it, it's like, oh, here's guys that are making millions and millions of dollars. And if I had that player base or all those fans and everything, like how in the world would you want to do that? Like, I couldn't do that, but I get it.
Yeah,
Like,
I would
100%.
Yeah, I would 100% eventually get to be like, I'll see you guys in a month. Deuces.
Yeah.
And if I had a ton enough money, I might not come back full-time streaming. I might
your
just
relevance can fall during that time.
Oh, I understand you. I understand
like,
that you
Ninja
take a
before
risk.
he took the first big break and after. And like look before Mixer and after, like all the things that he has. Now, if Ninja wanted to, he probably could come out and do another 600,000 person stream and find the way he wanted it, anything he wanted to do. But to create that brand, they grinded. I didn't realize that Pokimane started when she was 17. And she's been doing that this whole time. So she's been doing it a long time.
And keep in mind, if she had an exclusive contract with Twitch, I'm sure it was expected amount of hours also. I'm not sure how those contracts work.
Yeah,
but it could
be an expected amount.
Could be close to an end, or maybe she worked something in her new contract that she could take a break. But, I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily care about her. I don't think she's the greatest at some things, but she needs to take a break for herself and take a break. And if that means she wants to focus on other content creation because she's trying to build a different brand, then great. But I just don't really.
I just hope it's not a brand with Gideon and all the other crap that we had to talk about, where it's just like, you know, and that kind of goes back to my other thing where I agree with you there of like, is this just another look at me thing?
Yeah. Like
I've lost some and now I'm going to go through here. But if it is the legit burnout, and you're not enjoying what you're doing anymore, and you need to change pace. Like I've changed careers a couple different times.
Yeah.
So I do get that piece of it, but I also am not going to care any more than I did beforehand. And if anyone's out there feeling that way and they're just trying to grind through, take a break, people. Like it's okay. You don't have to continue to move forward with things you don't enjoy because you think you're going to like it. Everyone thinks this is the job for them. Like, oh, I think I can go ahead and go online every day and play video games. It's going to be wonderful. Well, it's not really the video game playing that anybody gives a crap about. It's the entertainment aspect of it. It's the way you entertain. It's the way you have to literally put yourself out there for everyone to see every single day of all the moments that you want or don't want. You got to put a smile on your face, regardless of what the hell's happening in your daily life. That's not easy. It's like news anchors. Like news anchors get that burnout all the time. Every day the news has to go on. They have to get there.
Yep.
And it's live. So whatever you're going through, you're there. So anyway, we'll kind of move forward off of that into an article that I am happy to hear about because
this is right up your alley.
It is right up my alley. Sitting right over there is the actual steering wheel and everything set up, the cockpit set up that I put in front of the TV to pretend that I'm a race car driver. Mostly in a Assetto Corsa or F1 simulation. Assetto Corsa is more of like a real sim. F1 is more arcadey now. But the problem is I have an Xbox that's hooked up to my TV, so I have to buy the Xbox steering wheel, and I don't have one for PlayStation since I just got the PlayStation. And I'm not a big fan of having to go out and buy another $400 steering wheel simulator to be able to play GT7, because Forza has taken their real sim, Forza Motorsports, off Xbox store. It doesn't exist anymore. They haven't made one. They've been focusing on Horizon, which is an arcadey driver and doesn't really lead. I mean, you can play it with a steering wheel. Like, don't get me wrong. I know there's hardcore.
It's just
people out
not
there,
really.
like,
It's different. It's very.
it's
different.
not a simulator. It's not a simulator for tracks that you know. It's an open world game that's designed to do crazy stuff, jump off things, go through billboards, drive on high speeds, all that kind of stuff, which is awesome. I love Horizon.
I'm sure it's not the most fun to be at the steering simulator.
No, it's not.
Jumping up into the air and
sometimes the wheel has no idea what's going on and it just starts spinning in circles and it's just like, okay, this doesn't work as well, and your brakes don't work as well. You can't feel the tension in them. But head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, and I just laugh every time I see it, Mr. Booty, saying high praises for Forza Motorsport and its upcoming 8th entry in the Forza Motorsport series during an episode of Xbox's official podcast. What he basically said is it's amazing. It's going to, again, reset the high bar for what simulation and competitive racing games can be. Those are the words from Matt Booty, who is the head of Xbox Game Studios, as he is complimenting Turn 10's upcoming game that they're going to have out, which is going to be Forza Motorsports. I'm assuming they're just going to call it 8, because that would be the one that
before.
we're on.
And just so you know, before he was head of Xbox Game Studios, he also used to work on racing sims.
Yes, he used
that's
to work
kind of
on
his. That's
sims.
his background. So,
and it's releasing in the spring of 2023. So we've got a while before we're going to get there. But as a fan of racing sims, I am very ecstatic that it's going to come out, because I am actually underwhelmed with GT7. The amount of time that they had to make Gran Turismo, I don't think the game hit. I think it is 100% riddled with microtransactions everywhere in the game, and the amount of work you have to do to just unlock the cars that you want is not worth the cars that you get in the game. Like,
exactly.
You're unlocking things that are 2 levels behind what you need. And it just it wasn't fun. I played it a little bit. I continued to play it more for the tracks, because they're gorgeous. They just look amazing, and we haven't had anything on next gen that looks this good, because a lot of the other simulators, like Racing Simulator, like Assetto Corsa, they put so much into the physics of the game.
Like iRacing is a great example.
Like iRacing is an amazing example. But iRacing is expensive as crap to play. Like, you got to buy everything in that game that you want, but the graphics just aren't there. If you're looking for a visually amazing game that you're going to play and have the feel of a simulator game and not the 100% iRacing competitive, I mean, like, they've got tournaments, they've got all kinds of stuff. Like, it is the simulator that even some pro racers use before they go to the tracks, because of how great the physics are in that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to have something that is, I think what they'll end up doing is making it a more accessible game. They'll have a lot of helping features in the game. So assisted braking, assisted steering, lines for you. You can tweak how competitive you want it to be. But as long as you can remove all that and crank it up to high and let the real sim guys race, and you have good track physics, we can give you a little bit of a break if all the car physics aren't there. But as long as you have the track physics down and the feel of the game and the motion, I think it'd be a great entry into the genre, and there is a open hole right now for someone to take the reins for that.
And I think they will. I do think that they will deliver. There are some things that PlayStation will deliver on, and there are some things that Xbox is going to deliver on. And time again, they have delivered, whether it's Forza Horizon or Forza Motorsports in the past. I think they have it down. Those teams know what they're doing. They really have a lot of passion into what they're doing, and I think that they really have it down. So for me, I'm not really worried. I think that you're going to be very happy for that. I think it's something.
I mean, I'm still waiting for GT7 VR, because that's the only way that GT could like step up their game. If they put VR on that,
maybe they will.
I mean, it may be there, and I just don't have the headset because you can't buy any of their hardware because it doesn't exist anywhere. But anyway, that's a whole nother problem.
Speaking of race sims,
super unique about this game. Hold on, there's something in the background that you have there, James, that makes this even better.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to talk about.
What is it?
We can transition right over to Xbox Game Pass because, of course, on PC and console, Forza Motorsport.
Can you just put sponsored by Xbox? And you got it behind you. Like what? Unofficially sponsored by, because we can't say officially.
Yeah, unofficially sponsored by. You know how much I tout the Game Pass. Speaking of Game Pass, though, let's talk a little about what came out.
How many can we get paid for here? I'm just trying to figure out how we get paid for this.
We probably need to have more than 4 people listen to our podcast.
We have more than 4 people.
Okay, 10 people.
Just 78.
So
I keep count. It's not higher than I can count.
Let's jump over here to Game Pass. There is a racing game that has just entered Game Pass this week. So Grid Legends, if you want to try that out, remember, it's just use your Game Pass subscriptions. You might as well check it out. Immortals Phoenix Rising, that was a Ubisoft game. For those that remember, it looked like a clone of Zelda Breath of the Wild with a Elden Ring type aesthetic, but it's all anime. It's very cartoony Zelda Breath of the Wild, I would say, graphic style, but got a lot of praise when it came out, so it's a lot of fun to play. And Immortality, we talked about that FMV game from Her Story, Her Story and The Lie, I think The Lie, whatever it was called. I tried it, Ender. I tried it. It does get a lot of praise from 8s and 9s from a lot of other companies. I couldn't get into it. I will say the found footage that you were scrolling through looks real. Sometimes you think that it's real and they're just using real footage to go into that. I didn't get it, so maybe the game's just not for me. But it is there, so Immortality is out. And coming this week, I know you're a big simulation lover, so I'm excited to see if you're going to jump into this. If you played Power Washing Simulator, I believe you'll play anything.
What is that supposed to
Sim World 3. Train Sim World 3 will be out on Game Pass on September 6th. And also September 6th. I think this is a big one. I think Game Pass subscriptions when it comes to cloud gaming, if parents can understand how to get cloud gaming on their phone, this game could really usher in a new thing, and that is Disney's Dreamlight Valley. It also comes out September 6th. Essentially, it is, from all intents and purposes, imagine Animal Crossing, but in the Disney universe. So I'm sure we'll play. I will play a lot of that next week, and I will report back to you.
I'm actually really interested with this, with having a daughter and a son that are very into Disney, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. This definitely looks very interesting to me for them. And I like what you said there of like the ability to get on your phone. Like I can get this on their iPads, something like that for them to be able to play. And I think they would definitely enjoy it. I'd be interested to see if the game becomes too complex for them at their age. I think my 6-year-old will be fine, but my 4-year-old might struggle through something like this. So I'd be interested to see how much help they get. A lot of times in games, at least I think for kids, and my kid's age bracket is my daughter's just starting to learn how to read. A lot of these games don't have voiceovers, and you have to read the text off of it to tell you what you need to do next.
Yeah.
It's very hard for her to play that. Like, she can get through some of it, but not all of it.
Yeah,
So she's
Nintendo
just
helping your
starting to
kids learn how to read since inception.
Exactly. So, we're now playing Kirby. Well, actually, the game they're playing by themselves right now is Yoshi. I told you that Yoshi Craft game, Craft World. So they're playing that now, and then I'm getting my daughter into playing Kirby, the newest one that came out. Now, the newest Kirby is phenomenal. If anybody likes the Kirby games, like I was super shocked at how good it is. He can turn into all different kinds of stuff. There's actually a leveling process of leveling your different abilities. So as you go through it, you can level up your abilities, and you can get, a bigger sword to swing, and you get this lava hat that you throw lava bricks from. It's really fun, and it's something me and her can play together.
Yeah.
And like, I can kind of drive the game. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying before of like removing the split screen play in Halo. I wouldn't be able to do that with her there. Not that I think they're at the age to play it. That's for every parent to decide. Our other podcast, Parents First Gaming, goes into extensive talking about all of the things that parents need to know about games and when is it appropriate for children to play certain things, their opinions on it. Like, we're not experts in the field, but you guys do bring in some experts in the field to give their opinion.
Yeah, we
so
try
if
our
you're
best.
interested in that, I would definitely take a look at that podcast, which has 50 episodes. How many are you guys up to?
We are at 48. We're taking a break,
48.
obviously, so you can go back and binge watch quite a few, or listen if you're on the audio. We are taking a break because I am getting married. So after my honeymoon, we will come back. The second week of October will be episode 49, and then we're going to try to do something really fun for episode 50.
And now, just because you are not a nice person, yes, I will be playing Train Simulator 3, and yes, Power Wash Simulator is better than some of the games you have recommended to me before. I'm not going to put anybody out there right now, but some of the games you have recommended, Power Wash Simulator is much better. Now, one of the reasons why I will be playing Train Simulator 3, and they did get 3 of them, so someone's playing them, is because
No, they're very popular. They are very popular.
Where I grew up and where I live now, we are one of the areas that has a ton of trains. Like, I grew up with trains around. Like, I can every night I can hear the trains go by, and it's one of those sounds of like, that's home. So one of the things about playing these is it feels like home when you play them, because you're doing all the different trains and building your depots and sending them out. I just grew up around trains, so I do like them, and I will be playing it. And you can shut your little face hole about
No,
it.
I just want you to stream it because I thought about trying it out myself, to be honest.
Well, I mean, so you want to know what the saddest thing is out of all of this? The most people I've ever had watch my stream was when I was playing Farming Simulator.
Yeah.
And I had like 25, 30 people watching at any given night on Farming Simulator. So people joke, but there is an entire world out there really into these simulators.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that Train
And
Simulator
they're
will be very
niche.
popular.
They're very niche. I'm just hoping that Train Simulator does better than Bus Simulator did, because people didn't really care about the Metro buses as much. But if you're looking for one of the best made simulators out there, Farming Simulator 22 is amazing, and the modding world is absolutely insane on that game. And they do mod the game for Xbox as well.
Yeah.
Not all the mods are out there, but they do have a significant amount of modifications that you can get to even make the game more realistic than the developers wanted. And that dev team really does listen to all of their player base, because they add a lot of those mods into the next version of the game. And you have it just natively, and you don't need the mods anymore.
Yeah.
And it's on Game Pass, so you can give it a shot for no money.
Exactly.
Except for your subscription. All right, James. I got a bone to pick with you, man.
Oh no.
Why on earth did you try to get me to download the monstrosity of a game that is Warzone to play?
Well, listen.
I don't
Listen.
understand.
You asked why. Do you give me a second? Give me a second to
Why you
answer.
would think anyone wants to play that horrific game anymore after all the shit I have talked about?
Well, listen.
Over the last year.
U.S. Bobber, and who's Jay, that we do podcasts with, and good friend. He has not stopped playing it. He has very limited time. It's an easy.
Well, I've
jump
always
in.
questioned Jay on his.
But in fairness, the time that he has
He's
to
been
play.
hitting the head a lot playing football.
Yeah.
Like I can't trust his judgment all the time.
The times that he has to play, it makes sense. Call of Duty is very quick to get into a game. It can be very casual if you want it to be. You don't have to be super competitive, which is your problem.
Halo.
I'm just saying for him, it's easy. He understands it. He played it, grew up playing it, kind of like you. So I was like, he's like, yeah, man, let's try to play some games. And I was like, whatever. I was like, okay. I was like, I don't really want to play, but I'll come over and play. And I actually had a lot of fun. I'm sure it has a lot to do with the fact that I played 9 games of PUBG and didn't damage anyone. And it starts to get frustrating and demoralizing. I jumped into a game of Call of Duty. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to use my Xbox Elite controller, remember all the buttons. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be horrible. First game I drop in solos, 9 kills. I was like, what is happening? And it's just funny when you play so many PC, whether with Tarkov and PUBG, and it's such a slower and your aim, everything has to be more precise. You really, if you play just the amount of time that we've put into those games, and then you go back to Call of Duty, you really remember, one, there's a couple of good things. We talked about this the other day. The movement and the precision, especially I think using a controller, is flawless. The movement in Call of Duty is great. The gunplay is great. That part, now we can get into the technical stuff, the time to kill, things like that. But just the actual movement for yourself is phenomenal. And it was just, it really goes to show you how arcadey Call of Duty really is coming from the others. Everyone's like, oh, it's very realistic. No, it's just popular. It's not.
There's extremely nothing realistic about that game.
Yeah, it's extremely arcadey, but it was a lot of fun. And I think in small moderation, I think you would have had fun. I think you would have had fun playing it a little bit today. Only because if I'm doing 8, 9, 10 kills on average in almost every game I'm playing with Jay, I know you're better than me, and you're going to have the same feels I'm getting with the game. Just feels like.
Well, I mean, you get aimbot back because you get aim assist back. Like that's the whole thing.
But it's just the movement and the attacking people. No, I understand that, but the attacking after people, going after just the whole process, I was like, man, Ender would probably be just killing it. And like I said, playing with friends. I didn't jump in to play by myself. I jumped in to play with friends.
But you just said you jumped in to play a solo game.
Well, I had to warm up before he got on.
Oh, okay. I mean, while you were out there playing Call of Duty, I decided to drop another win, on my own.
In casual.
In casual, that's true. I can't. I'm not there yet. I'm not there for the regular game. I could win casual. How many casuals have we won together?
I don't know. Probably none.
None at this point because someone's bringing down.
Well, when you play casuals together, we have to play in squads.
That's true. We do get tied up with squads, but we should still be able to take that. Anyway, I am not throwing away the possibility of playing the game again. I just have no desire to figure out how to free up 200 gigs of my hard drive to download a game that I'm just going to sit there and play and be like, this could be the best game out there. And continue in my head the whole time of like, this is the amount of stuff you need to fix. You need to change this. Like, that's what pulled me away from the game, is they just weren't changing anything.
No, I got, and I definitely just
anything.
like I said, you have to. I think you just have to decide. You're
And the
just
new
gonna have
game's
fun.
coming out in a couple months.
Yeah.
So I'll be there playing that when all of you guys are still playing your battle royales. I'll be in there playing the multiplayer games, which are my games, which
No,
I
I'm
enjoy.
gonna play.
Which are esports
The first
games.
thing I will do is I will get the new Call of Duty. I really like Modern Warfare. I will play for the first week. I will only play the campaign until I beat it, because if I start the campaign and then I switch over to multiplayer, I just have to focus.
Oh,
I'll
you
finish.
never finish. You never finish.
I'll never finish. But I think their campaigns are really good. The set pieces, it's over the top summer blockbuster type action. I think it'll be great. So I will finish that, and then I will probably jump into some multiplayer with you until the new Warzone comes out.
And I mean that is most likely what will happen, unless everything they said they're going to do didn't happen, and
Correct.
it's the same game. Actually, I would take Modern Warfare back. Like, just give me back what we had before, and I'd be back with no problems. Like, I won't. I promise, I won't complain about Verdansk. Just bring it back.
Yeah, I did not.
Only thing they have to do in that game is bring back one map, and I'll pick it up tomorrow.
It is. I did not enjoy the map very much, but I did have a lot of fun. I will just admit.
I mean, even the new map,
I had fun.
Everyone said is supposed to be amazing. I've watched some people play it. I've watched Tim and Doc, the guys that have to play it every single day. Until they start having fun with the game again, like, I'm not gonna go play. Because I gotta have the exact same feelings that they do. Now, I am enjoying PUBG, but I will be the first to admit, last night I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
Like, I'm done. Like, the grind gets to you when you put in. I don't know. We were 4 hours in at that point.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm getting my ass kicked. It's time to just do it, because it's, you don't have the gulag, you don't have buybacks.
It's just littered.
Start over.
It is really littered with hackers, and it does get frustrating. And
I
think,
mean,
but I will say this.
It's also littered with people that have been playing a whole lot longer.
Correct,
than we have.
but the problem is the player base is not very big, right? So if you run
That's
into
true.
6 hackers,
I mean, we run into the same people
we
often.
are getting killed by the same hackers over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's not like
and
millions of hackers.
Like, Call of Duty was always, you'd go a week and not really be able to tell if you've got killed by a hack. You probably did, but you couldn't really tell. And then you'd have that one day that's just riddled, and then the next day it would be fine, because the player base was so big.
Yeah, but PUBG,
PUBG's it's not, and then it's. I mean, you get one tap from across the map, like, or you end up getting lucky, like I did in my win. Even though it's in casual, I got 2 airdrops, ended up having an AWN and an AUG, and geared out in level 3, everything. Like, no one was killing me. I was one tapping everybody with the AWN anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I got anywhere close to him, I had the best gun in the game in the AUG. So you get those kind of things. There's not much you can do, unless I ran into someone that was just a whole lot better than me. But even then, I have a little bit of the upper hand of the gear that I have. I can get out of stuff that they couldn't.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that Call of Duty won't be something that I might download and play, because if you guys are playing, like, I enjoy playing with friends in the games. But at the end of the day, kind of going back to what we said before, if you're not enjoying the game,
yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sit down and play for 4 hours. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm not playing Call of Duty all day. I may be able to get 3 or 4 games in, and then I'm like, I'm done. Like, this is over, because we're running up and down that stupid mountain map, Caldera. It just bores me. And then, so I will say, the last time I launched into that game, it looks atrocious. It does not look good. Now that I've been playing all of these other games, like, it is like, man, they need to go and get the new graphics packs and the overlays and start utilizing these next gen consoles, because it's an ugly game.
Yeah.
It is very ugly right now. And Caldera map itself has nothing interesting on it. It's just palm trees and a hill and a tiki hut and some plains.
I mean, my hope,
Yep.
like I said, we talked
you go.
about this on our Call of Duty thing. My honest hope is when you play games like PUBG and stuff, it really is. Do I like every map and moment in PUBG? No. Do I like the fact that I can get multiple maps and I might not like this one, but I could get a different one the next one? I really wish that when they launch the new one, that they eventually throw in a rotating map list that, sure, maybe Caldera's on it. Does everyone have to like it? No. And I don't want to hear the people with the arguments, all people will just back out. People will just back out. Then do what everyone else does. And once you get to 70 players, if you're going to do 100, if you get to 70, fill the rest with bots. Honestly, who cares? There's enough real people. The player base for Call of Duty is...
They're already filling Call of Duty with bots now anyway.
But so Call of Duty is the player base is massive. So I don't want to hear their argument about people to just back out. Shut up. If it's a rotation, I don't really think people will back out because there's always going to be someone in the group that's like, no, Caldera is awesome. Or Verdansk 84 is awesome.
No one has ever said Caldera is awesome.
I'm sure there's that one annoying friend in everybody's group.
No, there's one guy that got paid by Call of Duty to do it. Unless you're getting paid, there's no one out there that was like,
but to my point, it's okay.
No one out there said, hey, why don't you go ahead and take this modern warfare game that we all love and decide to give us a World War II game in the Pacific that no one asked for and no one gives a shit about. And then in the process, destroy everything good about the game. No one said that.
I'm sure Activision CEO said that.
No, I'm sure Activision CEO said, how many skins can we sell?
Yeah.
He didn't even know what game they built. He had no fucking clue what game they were building. He didn't know. He was like, all right, what's our skin revenue for this month? I'm buying a new house. Ooh, that's my Ferrari. He didn't give a fuck. If he gave a fuck, this game never would have been made. I am fine. I'm going to go off on a rant here, even though we should probably end this now that we're over an hour. But I'm going to go on this rant anyway. Thank you for listening to the Two Dudes That Game podcast before I rant. And you can go ahead and turn it off here if you don't want to listen to it. You know what? I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it. I'm going to be better. Be better than this today, James. And to go on my Call of Duty rant because it just solidifies the reason why I won't re-download the game.
You know what I will defend you a little bit. I won't throw you into the bus. The reason, if you're just starting to listen to us,
push me into the bus.
If you're just listening to us, the reason he gets so fired up about it, it's because you care. It's because you care about the game and you love Call of Duty.
I am still the guy that watched every single minute of the Call of Duty League. I watch it Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. On the worst game ever, Vanguard, I watched all of it. All of it. And they were the mecca. Like when Advanced Warfare was out, like, oh my God, it was just so amazing. And you're like, if they keep this up, it's going to be good. Then Modern Warfare came out. And I know people had all the issues with Modern Warfare. Some liked it, some didn't like it. But then they continue. And I don't know who on the creative team thinks anyone gives a shit about old school games. Make one if you want, but don't break the one I love. Nobody gives a shit about old weapons. They don't care. They don't want to play them. Everyone you put out that's based in World War I or World War II or whatever other war that you want sucks. Give me Call of Duty in space and I'm happier. It's basically Advanced Warfare.
Or Infinity Warfare or whatever
Infinity
it was.
Ward. Yeah, or not Infinity
Infinite
War.
Warfare. Infinite Warfare. Is that the?
Give me exosuits. Give me cool things. Give me drones to fly around. That's what kids want. They don't care. No one likes history anymore.
Was this your not rant?
This is my not rant. It could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. You know it could have been worse. We could make an entire 2-hour episode on this. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say goodnight to everybody because I'm tired. It's been a long day. I went bowling with my kids, which was actually awesome.
Nice.
We did have a good time. We had a good time up until the end. So I have another rant on that, on bowling. If you're going to take a large group of kids bowling, you need, as a parent, to be situationally aware of the other people around you and not let your kids act like complete morons. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because at a bowling alley, my 4-year-old son almost got knocked over 3 times by like 15-year-old kids that definitely knew better, with parents that were there that didn't give a shit because obviously they just weren't there. So it started out good because we normally get there like right when they open because my kids, they take their rest time and they don't have a lot. Like 3 o'clock hits, they're done. So we normally get there when they open, play for 2 games. Takes about 2 hours. We got there a little bit later today because we were running behind, and then it started getting too busy. But be aware of like little kids trying to learn how to bowl and all that kind of stuff. And if you have other kids around there, like teach them general etiquette of being in public, please. Because these people shouldn't even have been out in public. I get we've been locked up with COVID for a long time, but you need to teach your kids how to act again. That's my rant. It was a great time up until like the last.
This has been two dudes that rant.
We could make that podcast. I could make that work. We could just pick a topic each day. You want to start 2 dudes that politic? You want to hear some rants?
We should do a podcast that's literally only 20 minutes long every day.
Every day.
It's like 2 dudes that rant. It's Peter Griffin's What Grinds My Gears.
What grinds my gears? They have that new game that just came out, that card game that was like the Cards Against Humanity. But they're like, have you seen that? It's like this random ass questions that they ask. Mm-mm. Oh, what is the name of that thing? Hold on. It's like an app that you can download. And it's, it is, let me read it. Answer the Internet.
Oh, that's funny.
It's what it's called. And it's from the Barstool, the guys that did the Barstool Sports. But then you have like all these different questions that they ask you. And they're just like some of the worst effed up things that you could like here's one. I'll just give you an example of one. And we could just pick one a day. Would you rather be drunk for 24/7 or never be drunk again? That's the thing you have to answer. For me, I don't drink, so never be drunk again.
I may never be drunk again for sure. Yeah.
Here's one. Would you rather have to tell your mom everything sexual you've done or have to show her your entire porn history? That's a question. That's a question.
Well, maybe we should end this podcast here before we get into trouble.
Would you?
My mom listens to this podcast, so we need to move on.
That's okay. I've met your mom. I like your mom. Would you rather have Cheeto fingers or wet socks for the next 24 hours?
Cheeto fingers for sure.
Yeah, I would not do the wet socks. I would get socks. Cheetos. Like I would just clean up the Cheetos afterwards. Wet socks would be terrible.
When I go on a water ride at the amusement park, I actually take my socks off and stuff them in my pocket. Yeah.
I agree 100%. Wet socks are terrible.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing ever. Anyway, thank you for listening to this terrible end of the podcast. I'm glad I ended it back then. If you're still listening, I don't know why. This has nothing. We should, if we do make a podcast, it could be the Seinfeld podcast, the show about nothing. Yeah. We're literally just going to come on and talk about whatever the hell we feel like talking about that day. I could do that. But thank you for listening to 2 Dudes That Game. I am Ender. This is my co-host, James. We are out.
Good night, guys.